Hello, and thanks for stopping by my channel and another video in my ongoing unboxing series. Now, today I have the Sony FX3A in my studio. Yes, that's correct. It's not the Sony FX5, it is the FX3A. And I will go into the reasons why I have purchased this with my own money at this current time. You may think that I'm late to the party, but there are reasons for it. If this is something you're interested in, then let's get into it. As I explained in the opening of the video, this is the Sony FX3A, and this is an open box purchase. Yes, I did purchase this with my own money, but all the contents you're about to see inside are just what you would purchase if you were to purchase this on your own. And my reasoning for doing these unboxing videos, that is not to show off my new and shiny equipment, but it's to show you exactly what comes inside of the box should you decide to purchase one for yourself. These are some leaflets and brochures. So here in this little leaflet we can see that if you scan this, you can see all the lenses that are available for the camera and also all the accessories that are available from Sony for the scanner. So don't just throw this away, but to take a look and scan it with the QR code on your camera. And if you scan this QR code right here, this will take you to the web manual. But still, it is nice to see that they are giving you some kind of information. So let's just take a quick look at how it says here, prepare the battery pack, attach the lens. You know, just these basic things, how to insert your card, initial setup, and so on. So, I mean, if you don't have access to the internet where you are and you do receive a new camera, this could come in handy. But if you need to take a more in-depth look, you will have to look it up online, because this is just your basic get started brochure. This is probably, I did purchase this with the XLR handle and module, and as we can see here, this is the handle that comes with the camera. We are going to attach that just in a little bit and go over it. So this came in the box I purchased it with. You can also purchase just the camera alone without the XLR module, but I think it is worth to put in that extra $1 so you can get the XLR module for the camera, because XLR is what we want when we are working professionally. So let's just put that out of the side for now. Just going to put that here. This is probably the charger. Yes, it is. Oh, wow. This is nice. This, for the first time, I have purchased one of these cameras with a dual charger that will accept the NPZ 100, I think it is. We're going to check into it more exactly on the specifications of the battery, but it's nice to see that Sony is supplying us with a double charger. You can charge this via USB-C, which is the new standard. So this you can plug into your laptop or any docking device, or your machine, or if you have a 12-volt adapter to your mains outlet and so on. So very versatile, very small and nice package. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was traveling with huge V-Lock batteries and V-Lock chargers. I mean, they were taking up just a whole case, an extra kilo. So, I mean, this is all the juice we need today. Let's put this here for now. Let's see what's inside here. There should be... Oh, actually, we actually have to take out the camera, I think, to get to it. We are going to save this wonderful piece of kit for last, you know, as do in the movies. We're not going to give everything away straight away. And we are going to dive into and see if Proactive, the dealer that I have bought it from, has remembered to put in all the extra bits and pieces. And this is the battery, and also just a small little thing. This is just a little cold shoe that comes with the camera, as well as this one. Just going to put that here. So this is the battery I was talking about. This is a Z line series. It is called the NPF Z100. So it is an NPF style battery, but it has the Z or the C, as I call it in the States, I think, at the end. So don't confuse this with NPF batteries. This is the Z version, so a lot smaller battery and all. So we are just going to put, if that was all inside of the box, no cables, no nothing. Manufacturers these days, they are getting cheaper to take out all the extra cables and so on, but they are still very happy to see that they are including a charger. Not every manufacturer is doing this, but we are going to put this out of the way for now, and we are just going to lay out the XLR module, the battery, and the charger to see what my $3,000 has got me, along with all the brochures, the cold shoe adapter, and finally, this is the Sony FX3A. Wow, this is nice. Take a look at this. Take a look at this small and powerful camera that Sony has made, the FX3A. So you may wonder, what is the difference between the FX3 and the FX3A? We can see on the bottom here, this is the FX3A. Well, basically the upgraded version has a better screen than the previous one, because if you go online and Google it, it says that they had access to better components, so they could actually upgrade the screen. So if you do get a chance, I would recommend buying the FX3A camera, because that has a better screen with a lot more resolution, which I find critical for, you know, focus and exposure and so on. So let's just go over the camera. So on the top here we have 1, 2, 3 1/4-inch threads. Inside here we have electrical contact points, so this will transfer the audio from the XLR module into the camera. Just push it in all the way, and then we can take these screws. These have a little spring to them, so we can tighten them down. And now look, now all of a sudden we have professional XLR audio, and we still have 1 and 2 1/4-inch threads here on top if we want to attach something like a monitor, or you can attach a monitor here. On the side we also get another 1/4-inch thread. So basically you have all these rigging points built into the camera, so you don't really need a cage if you don't want to. We get everything in one package, and I think this is great. This is one very light, one very lovely camera. On the side we have 3 different covers with ports hidden beneath them. So let's take a closer look at the first one. On the top, we have a 3.5mm jack input. Now, this is for attaching your microphones, whether it's your Rode or your Sennheiser or your Daitis or whatever kind of microphone you're using. You can plug that into here to get great quality audio directly into your camera if you don't want to use the XLR handle. Beneath, we find the headphone out socket, so we can monitor our audio when we're doing our recording. So this is really great to have. So let's move on to the second cover and see what that hides. So here we have a couple of very interesting ports. The first one is the USB-C protocol. Now you can use this either as a very expensive memory card reader to your computer, or you can use it for live streaming. If you want to use the FX3 for that, you can use this port, and I think this is a really, really great feature. Furthermore, you can also use this port for charging or PD delivery if you have a power bank or something like that and you want to run your cameras for a longer period of time. And on the bottom, we find a really interesting connection. Sony calls it a multi-port, and it is quite a bit of a confusing name, but It is actually a micro USB standard, and what you can do here is actually send a timecode feed into the camera, and it is compatible with products from Tentacle, such as a Sync E and a Track E recorders, and this makes audio recording and syncing and timecode a lot easier when you go to post-production. So I think this is a really nice implementation by Sony and a really welcome addition to such a small camera. So let's see what is hidden underneath this cover. This is great. This is a large HDMI port, which is, you know, the next professional standard below SDI. Would be lovely if this were an SDI port, but I mean, it is what it is. It is HDMI, and it pushes out a 16-bit raw signal. But even though it can push out a 16-bit raw signal out of the HDMI port, you still need to have very specialized recorders to be able to record that signal. So there are not many people taking advantage of that. And I just wanted to show you, have you heard about a film called The Creator? It's a science fiction blockbuster that was shot on the Sony FX3. Yes, that's correct. They shot it on the Sony FX3 because they wanted to rig it up any way they wanted to, and they wanted to move around with a lot of freedom and also be very nimble on set. And what they did, they recorded a 12-bit signal on the Atomos Ninja V in ProRes RAW. It just goes to show that there are no more excuses anymore not to go out and shoot great movies, great documentaries, and great content with stuff like this camera here. So you see where I'm going? We don't need an FX5 when we have the FX3. I mean, if it's good enough for Oren Sofer, who co-DP'd The Creator, the Sony FX3A certainly packs a lot of punch in such a small body. So let's take a closer look at what we can find on the front. Here on the handle we have our wheel for controlling our iris, and if we take off this E-mount cover here, then we can see we have a really nice large full frame sensor where we can attach our lenses. And Sony is using, as they always do, the E-mount standard, which is really nice standard because this can adapt a whole plethora of lenses and adapters, and you can use pretty much any lens that you have or you own or you want to use on this camera. And on the bottom left we find another start and stop recording button. The only thing, and that's a real negative, the only thing I find negative about these cameras, that is the lack of a built-in ND filter. I wouldn't personally mind if this block here where we attach the lenses were just a little bit bigger, if the camera has been a little bit fatter, as long as it only had built-in NDs. That's a real worry for me. Your needs may be different, but for me, that's a game changer. If you're working on a big set like, you know, The Creator, you have all these assistants running around and doing all this stuff for you. They can supply, you can just say, hey, I need another ND filter, let's put that on. I mean, but if you're working on your own, that will slow you down. But that aside, let's just move on and see what else the camera offers. So we have a dedicated recording button here. We have a dedicated white balance button here, dedicated ISO button here, and dedicated iris. And on the front, we can go wide and tele. If you choose to use compatible lenses from Sony, you can actually control them from here, such as the PZ28 to 135. That's basically the lens that comes to mind immediately. Furthermore, on the side, we get another 1/4" thread. Here we have our dual both CF Express ports as well as the SDXC card slots. So you basically have two slots here, both for your SDXC cards. You should shoot at with a V90 card, so you can purchase the CF Express A type cards. A is not as common as B, but you can get quite affordable cards from B&H called the OVC Atlas, I believe. You can get them around 480 gigabytes and so I mean, they're not as I think they're around run around $350 or so, and that will basically allow you to shoot whatever kind of internal codec this camera has. So let's just flip it upside down. This is one of the negative points about the camera. It only has one 1/4" thread here for a tripod plate, and I'm not a huge fan of that. They should have made room for at least 2, so the tripod plate won't come loose, it won't twist when you're shooting on your tripod and stuff like that, because that has happened to me in the past. I mean, when you're on set, when you're running around, you're moving the camera, things start to move and shake and such on. These plates here, they can't come loose. That's a negative, I would have to say. So Sony, if you are listening, I don't know what they have done on the FX5, mind you, but that should be a standard with 2 points of contact on any small mirrorless camera, just to be clear, whether that's Panasonic or whether that's Sony or Canon or wherever. So let's see what's on the back. Here we have our on-off button. We have our mode switch here. We can dial into the menu. We have here a preset button for focus magnifying, and we can control this via this little jog wheel here. And here we have a control wheel. We can hit zebra, peaking, shutter, display, and play back our clips. And also here we have a dedicated button for the bin, and you can obviously change this in the menu. You may ask yourself, why do I want to purchase an FX3A versus a Sony a7S III? Well, I used to own the Sony a7S III, and that was a great camera. They both are very similar in many ways, the FX3 and the Sony a7S III. The Sony a7S III has the benefit of a built-in viewfinder, which I find really great, but it's more of a kind of a, in the sense, a hybrid camera, because it can shoot stills, it can shoot video, but it's not really like here. You have these dedicated buttons here for film and video production. They make it very easy to navigate around the camera. So this is the more film centric camera, so to speak. Let's see how the screen moves. This is, you can turn it around like this. Let's see if Sony have done. No, they haven't done. I really hate that, sorry to say. In the past, you used to be able to take the screen, flip it out like this, and you could basically move it in any direction you wanted to, such as this one. This is the GH7, and look what they have done. Like this, you can flip open the screen, you can go like this. You can flip it back here. I mean, this is very great if you want to shoot just like that. On this camera here, which Sony has obviously taken away, you have to go here on the side and like this. And whether we like it or not, there's a little bit of play here. See that? A little bit of play here. Now that could throw your whole plane out of out of the correct position. So I'm not a huge fan of that screen, but that is probably why people are rigging this out with a monitor. But you don't have to, but you don't have the EVF, so you are basically stuck with this screen. So let's go over, if you do decide to purchase the XLR module, let's see what that is all about. So let's flip open the cover here. We have input 1, input 2, and also input number 3. This is input number 3. This is just your standard 2.5mm jack. If you want to attach something like the Rode Wireless Go, so just another different kind of a microphone that runs on the jack standard. Otherwise, you have these wonderful XLR TRS combo. Here just a standard XLR, and we can set our channels here. You have a dedicated level here for all the 3 channels. We can set the channels to auto, we can set the channel to manual, which I like to use, and we can also set our attenuation from 0 dB, 10 dB and 20 dB. And we can also switch from line, microphone without phantom power, and microphone with power. And if you choose this button here, auto, manual, or link, this will link both channels together. I want to set this to manual, and I want to set this to manual. You could, if you wanted to, you could run one channel in manual and one channel in audio. So just to have that safety if you're just running around, so nothing will clip and get distorted. And you can see these are both the same. And we can also have a low cut filter here. We have off 100 Hertz, 300 Hertz, and those run at both channels. And here, I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of this one. This is handle audio on and handle audio off. Let's just see. Yeah, this is quite easy to change, but you will have to push down this little button here and switch it over to the side. So, I mean, if you are in a run and gun situation, you basically shouldn't be able to touch this. Why they have chosen to turn handle audio on or off, that is beyond me why they have chosen to do so. I mean, if I have the handle attached, I'm going to use the XLR module, right? But anyway, it is something to be aware of. And on the back here, we can also select where we want to have our channels. So this is basically in input one. We can set channel 1 and 2 to input 1 and 2, or just input number 3. So this is, you have a lot of flexibility with this little audio adapter. That is probably why it costs $800 just to purchase on your own, because this is really high quality audio. And also I think that Sony is trying to make money. Here we can attach our microphone. That is just pretty standard. Put your microphone in here, lock it off like so, and you're ready to go. So, as I promised in the beginning, this isn't the Sony FX5 that everyone is raving about now. I mean, everybody's saying, oh, we have to sell off the FX3 and I have to get myself an FX5. But ask yourself the question, do you? Do your productions really rely on shooting raw formats? Do you really want to deal with all that? Or do you just want to deal with perhaps S-Log, or even better, the S-Cinetone? I have shot S-Cinetone for my documentaries for years. You don't have to do a lot of color grading. You can just pull down the blacks, pull up some color, and you are more or less basically good to go. You don't have to mess around with all the Cine IE and all this. If you want to shoot, have a great picture in the camera, just a little bit of grading, turn it off to the client, make some money, and say, hey, moving on to the next job. I think that is very important. I think you as a shooter need to define where you are in your business. Do I really need the Sony FX5, or can I get away with the Sony FX3A? Obviously, I purchased this with my own money. I picked it up for $3,000, this whole package, and I can already tell this is going to make a lot of money back into my business without me breaking the bank, because this is important. Your client will not notice, and they will not care if you shoot a raw format like the XOCN, or if you just shoot to the standard formats that come inside of the camera. And I think that's something to keep in mind when you decide to purchase and lay down your hard-earned money to purchase a new camera for your business. Anyway, I do hope you did get something out of watching this little unboxing video and me going over the camera to see exactly what comes inside of the box should you decide to purchase one for yourself. If you did enjoy this video, please consider sharing it with your friends. Give it a thumbs up, and please also do consider subscribing to my channel, because there's a lot more tips and tricks and unboxing to come on this channel as we move forward. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.